Welcome to what I think is gonna be a build breakdown. Not really sure, this might just end up in a random video somewhere. It might be a whole separate video, but I just wanted to talk about and show off some stuff that could end up being pretty important in this build. So, show you over here. Pretty much we have the engine pretty much all buttoned up. I think this may have ended up somewhere at the end of another video, but we have a new oil pan. The whole front gasket is on. The intake, it's on. I just need to go get some washers for the bolts. The heads of these bolts are a little small, so I'd like to go get some washers for them. A couple other little plumbing things we have to do. I'll need new fuel rails, a couple things for the throttle body, but we're like 75% of the way there from having this thing kind of sealed up and ready to go in. We got the exhaust on. These actually just came in today. These are turbo exhaust headers. Should sound pretty freaking cool. And then we'll just have to find a way to route them somewhere. We may even turn them up and go out somewhere, we'll see. But a couple issues that I want to bring up, because maybe somebody has dealt with this before and you can leave it in the comments and help me out. I've done tons of research and I don't think it's possible. I mean, it's possible, just not easy. Not that anything in this build is. But the problem we're having is this intake or throttle body. It's a carb style throttle body. So it looks like a carburetor, but it's just a throttle body. Well, it integrates a TPS and an idle air control valve. The TPS is easy. You have your power, ground, and then the signal that goes back to the computer. The idle air control is a little harder because this uses GM stuff. So the GM TPS is 3 wires, that's fine. The Ford factory idle air control is a 2-wire PWM motor. So it's basically like a little servo motor that just, it gives it different voltages, and based on the wave of that voltage, if you look on like the graph of a PWM signal, that just controls how much it opens and closes. Well, the GM thing that actually fits on here is a stepper motor. And stepper motors are 4 wires. You have basically 2 windings on the inside, from what I understand. You have two positives and 2 negatives, and there's 2 separate windings on the inside that do something. I don't fully know what they do. I just know how to wire them up. I don't know the internals of those motors, but there's no good easy way to get a PWM signal to control a stepper motor. You have to have something controlling, something in between to convert the signal, which is doable. But then you run into an issue of like, you have to run like an Arduino board and program it, which I'm totally fine with. I've done it before, but then you have to like give it power and ground, which is also not too hard, but then they don't really like 12 to 14 volts. You gotta have a little voltage converter to step it down, and it just gets a little complicated. So I'm still dealing with that. But other than that, we're just kind of waiting on parts for the engine. The bigger thing I want to talk about today was the alternator. And the reason that I want to talk about the alternator is because of this. Now, you've seen this before. This is our motor plate with our new water pump, and we had to get a new timing cover for all of it. Well, the alternator is supposed to sit somewhere over here. Normally stock, it's like, sits right here. I have a bracket that drops it way down, but again, it wasn't meant for this plate. I have yet to see if this plate interferes with anything. It does interfere with some of the mounting holes that it has to use. And also, that other bracket that drops it down low was meant for the SN95 specific front timing cover and water pump, because they are different. So I don't think that's gonna work, but I do have another bracket that should kind of put it back in the factory location. But again, does it interfere with this? I do not know. It at least will interfere with the mounting holes, so we'd have to drill holes in the plate, but I just didn't account for any of it. So I want to kind of mock it up with you guys and just kind of show you a live reaction to all the stuff that I constantly find wrong that just need more custom engineering. This is the, not original bracket, but the bracket that I used after I had gotten rid of, there's a whole bracket on this side of the motor, or from the factory on this side of the motor, and it has a smog pump down here for emissions. Mine didn't even have that when I bought it, so all that was over here was a big bracket and an alternator. So got rid of that and then bought this really thin bracket that just also dropped it down out of the way, so you didn't even see it. Kind of cleaned up the engine bay. I can kind of already tell though that this one won't work, because these 2 holes, there's 2 smaller holes right here. I think those ones went to the water pump, and just based on the spacing of this large bolt right here, this goes to the head, and then the back of the alternator bolts up directly to the head, and then that spacing puts it basically in the middle of this plate. So that is not gonna work, and I'm not super hopeful for the other bracket either. Now, this one comes in a couple other parts. So this goes to the water pump, that bolts on the top of the alternator, and then similar to the other one, you have, actually I didn't show it, but it has a turnbuckle to tighten the belt. So you move it in, and it shortens the belt routing, so the belt gets loose, and then when you put the belt back on, you tighten it, it pushes the alternator outwards, tightening the belt. So it's kind of the same concept. It'll go to the, I think these go to the water pump right here, and then this bolts, I don't know if you guys can see this. So you go to the water pump, and then this little bracket will bolt to the alternator. But yet again, I can already tell we just don't have enough spacing right there. So I need to figure something out. Maybe there's a kit out there that works with these plates. Typically the reason that you don't really worry about this stuff is because most cars that have a motor plate are usually like drag cars that only just, their battery lasts the whole run. So they fire up the car, they pull up, burn out, run, and then they shut it down at the end of the track and then tow it back to the pits. A battery will last that long, especially if you run like a 16 volt battery or 18 volt battery, which they typically do in those higher horsepower cars. So my only other thought is, I don't mind drilling holes in this plate to bolt to the head. We basically have to get the alternator way down here. You guys can't even see that. Way down below here, with the right front to back spacing, which seems doable. Getting to the point where I feel like in the 10-month time that I gave myself to build this thing, I should have just built a badass drift car. Then we would have had basically a race car to start with, and then in another 10 years to a month, could have done the all-wheel drive stuff. So I'm still excited about the project, but this is getting ridiculous. It does look pretty cool with the motor plate and the exhaust though. And I think because of the way it's slanted right here, if we flip them up, they would clear it as well, which I'm really hoping they do, because I feel like we're probably gonna have to turn them upwards. Anyways, just a quick little video, just a quick little engine updates. Some small problems we're trying to figure out with the throttle, some big problems we're figuring out with the alternator. Probably just a quick little build breakdown video. Hopefully that was a good explanation. I'm just sitting in my garage talking all of it through in case someone has an idea and you want to drop it in the comments, let me know. I also need to jump online and see if there's a kit that helps me with this stuff, because if there's a kit, I'd much rather just buy that. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.